Straight to our top discussion, something that everyone's talking about, the effect of demonetization on property prices. Most articles and experts claim while property across the country will bear some brunt of currency change and black money going out of circulation, they also add in the same breath that southern markets, especially Bangalore and Hyderabad, will weather the storm better. Not so much for Chennai though. Let's find out what are the factors which are driving this observation. Sarita Hunt, Managing Director, Chennai and Coimbatore, JLL India, joins us. And also with us, Sandeep Mehta, one of the renowned developers of Chennai, Managing Director, Jain Housing and Constructions. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me. Sarita, I will go to the developer later to defend his market, but I really need that answer from you. Pair out these three markets for us, Chennai, Hyderabad and Bangalore. And just almost every report I read says Chennai is going to bear the larger brunt. Bangalore and Hyderabad are actually more insulated, not just amongst the southern markets, but across India.
So Manisha, I guess there is too much of speculation and it is too soon for anybody to put a number and say that yes, demonetization is going to affect Chennai or Bangalore or Hyderabad. And the velocity and the kind and the nature at which prices would drop, it would be absolutely suicidal to put a number today. Yes, there is speculation. The consumer thinks that this is the right time to beat down developers and ask for those numbers which are unheard of. So I guess it's a little too early to speculate and say that there's a total washout right now in real estate.
Nobody's saying a washout. I've asked you a very specific question here, Sarita, and for that there have to be figures and there has to be an answer. It's your community, the IPC community, which is weighing down Chennai more than the other markets. And Chennai has also been slower than the other two markets. Hyderabad, in fact, has been a turnaround story because of the office space story. And Bangalore always has had very good office grade absorption. So I'm not asking you whether it's going to be a washout. I'm already saying that these three markets are going to do better than North India. Amongst these three markets, Chennai probably will not be the bigger survivor.
Survivor would be again a very harsh word. Let me give you statistics here. Okay. Unsold inventory, if you take a look at it in comparison to Hyderabad, Hyderabad has 19,000 unsold inventory. Chennai has 44. And Bangalore has 77. Okay. And the reason why the new launches have really not surfaced, people are looking at making sure that the inventory which is currently available is delivered to a consumer who had put in money a little while ago. So are you saying that there will be a bloodbath? Right. No.
So how much time will this 77,000 inventory overhang in Bangalore take to get absorbed? Let's convert this into months, Sarita, at the rate of absorption.
I guess that would be a little too early. We will have to look at how the market is turning.
Mr. Jain, why don't you wear a national developer hat or at least a South India developer's hat and tell me, will Chennai survive it as well as the other two markets? Are we singling out Chennai unnecessarily?
Yeah, I think we're trying to, put Chennai on a darker list unnecessarily. Chennai is a much steady market compared to most other markets, and if you specifically compared Hyderabad and Bangalore, as you were rightly mentioning, the IT absorption space has been quite decent in last 2 quarters, or probably in that regard last 1 year has been reasonably good on the IT absorption in Chennai as well. I think it is as much as it did in Hyderabad as well. So I don't see there's any reason why Chennai should suffer. And in fact, if you talk about the black money, I think Chennai is one market we can we present in almost all the other markets of southern India. I can say Chennai is the strongest and the best market and is absolutely free from black money. As far as real estate in Chennai is concerned, it is purely driven by the end users. And the people who buy homes at mostly falling within the budget of 40 to 60 lakhs are actually aided through bank funding. Okay. And 85-90% of these money comes in through banks. So I don't think there's any chance for black money to
All right.
enter into Chennai
All
market
right.
as one.
So you're saying it
And
was a
while the
hugely
black- yeah,
end-user
yeah.
driven market, and therefore there is no reason to single out Chennai. Office absorption also seems to be,
Absolutely.
the numbers seem to indicate that it's not in a worse off situation than either Bangalore, Hyderabad. Sarita read out the inventory
Yeah.
overhang figures, and it doesn't seem, in fact, Bangalore seems to have a lot many more unsold houses in absolute numbers than Chennai does. But it also has much more higher absorption of office grade A space. So I think the numbers all stack up. Okay, gentlemen and lady, let's come back to that mute question. No panic. But honestly, if the buyer stays on the sidelines, looking at the various reports which are flowing around, Sarita, how long do South India developers have the capacity to last out and not crack down on prices?
How long in terms of months? I think it is a good
So
6 to
here's
7
my
months.
so most developers are saying, look, we were anyway selling in white. We had very thin margins because of the 3-year slowdown. So there is no room to cut prices. Now the big question is that if the sales don't pick up, right, for next 6 months or a year, do you think developers will hold on to the prices? Do they have the capacity, or do you think they'll be forced to bring down prices? That's an easier question to answer.
Correct, Manisha. So if you really take a look at Chennai, Chennai is divided into two kind of buckets, luxury and more so on the IT corridor. Now pricing has been rationalized, pricing has been corrected to a certain extent. But keeping in mind what has happened and what corrective measures the government is taking, we will see customers shying away from taking a decision, and that decision they are looking forward for a reduction. Now if that reduction doesn't happen, I'm sure that they will take a little more time to wait. And if they come across a good buy directly with the developer, I'm sure there's going to be conversion. But to answer your question, definitely we will see a minor correction in a very not an investor-driven market, but an end-user market like Chennai.
All right, Mr. Jain, Purvankara, Bolanini, KG, Alliance, Casa Grande, we found out from buyers are calling up buyers and offering discounts on per square feet prices. This is already happening. So maybe not you, but there are developers who are beginning to offer 10 to 15% discount. Is it that these discounts were already there in the market and they're now being, said that, oh my God, it's because of demonetization, these developers are offering discounts? What's the real story there?
No, actually, I think these discounts are nothing to do with the demonetization as such. In fact, demonetization comes an opportunity where we go out and market this particular concept also, while these discounts are in view of demonetization. The idea is how much we can sell. See, markets are kind of hard pressed for last 2 years, which all of us are aware. Now, demonetization is no reason for anybody to offer any discount or additional discount. And if you go through the numbers carefully, none of these are in any kind of additional discounts. What have been offered are being offered for last 1 year. Yeah, the fact remains that there has not been any price rise over last 2 years. That itself is already a correction. I don't think demonetization would play any role in Chennai. And one very important and strong fact all of us have to understand, Sarita answered your last question that how many months it would take for a market to get stabilized and things like that. I would say, see, we all have to definitely wait for the financial year close. And all of us know now one default factor is that the huge, quite lot of money is come into the banks. Now, it's obvious fact that the interest rates would come down. And the history repeats, whenever there is an interest rate cut, the housing industry picks up at a very rapid pace. And it's a default growth, and housing contributes almost 70% of 60% of the GDP. So obviously there is enough reasons for market to boom again. In fact, I would say this demonetization would definitely help housing market to grow than see whatever correction or speculation which is being talked about by media could be a temporary phenomena, maybe for over 3 to 6 months, as she rightly put. But I think finally by default the money would come into, the banks would try to flush the funds outside.
Right.
Buyers would find it comfortable to borrow when the interest rates are low. And I think it has to help the housing
Overall
markets
economy.
in a big way.
Well, it's a bold step, great move, and for developers who were selling in white, probably better days ahead, because if there was black element, now those buyers will have to come and buy it in all check. Okay, my job is to play the devil's advocate and extract whatever information I can for the buyer out there who's watching the show. Sarita Hunt and Sandeep Mehta, gentlemen and lady, thank you very much for joining me. And of course, I agree on that fact that if home loan rates do come down to 8%, 8.5%, which is bound to happen over the next 12 to 18 months, your houses anyway get cheaper, don't they? Your EMI goes down and your home loan burden also goes down. We'll keep a close track on all those events which unfold and keep telling you the right price to buy properties across India. Thank you very much for joining me.